the medicine man himself, Stephen Ash. Stephen, it is wonderful to see you. Wonderful
Thank
to
you.
see you. And life sometimes is ups and downs, isn't it? For you, for me, for everyone. And I
Yeah.
suppose it's the, sometimes it's the tools that we can have to help navigate the journey.
Yep. That's it. That's it. Somehow we have to find our own balance again and our own, in a changing world,
Yeah.
in a madly changing world, because, human beings being such inquisitive creatures keep inventing new things, and, these new things threaten to take them over.
It is a fascinating world. I was with the kids yesterday and we were going through some of the kind of sound, the kind of the back end of it all, right?
Yeah.
And when we send out these, obviously we're recording this here, it goes out on a video, but it also goes out on a podcast. And when
Yeah.
it goes out on a podcast, it gets sent out to like 1,000 different podcast channels. And
Mm.
we were kind of looking at it. And what is fantastic is the Medicine Path show has been one of the most popular listens
Oh,
over the
really?
last year. And we
Wow.
have fans in Japan and we
Wow.
have fans in Russia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Congratulations.
congratulations to you, Medicine Man, because isn't that brilliant? We're dropping a pebble in a pond here by broadcasting this and by, sharing what we've learned in our journeys. And then we don't know where those ripples are going to go, but they're going around the world. And when I saw that yesterday, it gave me so much joy and hope. And I was with Eliar, and he's
Mm.
recently recorded a show with his karate sensei,
All
who
right.
is a photographer, and he's got an exhibition of nature. And he spent 3 years photographing nature. So Eliar interviewed him, and it was wonderful. Eliar's on the camera, and he's talking like this, and then we
Yeah.
found a show, and it was called The Wisdom of a Child, and it's from when he's 9, so it's only 4 years ago. My name's Eliar. And now sat next to me is this big, he's a brown belt in karate, and he's
Wow.
big and strong, and oh, how they grow. Hey, Stephen.
Well, isn't that exciting? It's so nice to talk to you, Giles, as well. Really, it's really lovely to talk to you because, for all of us, we need to have courage. Do you know what I mean? We need to have courage, and to hear you talking, it gives so much hope because we often I do we often wonder, have we really been barking up the wrong tree for a
Yeah,
long time?
yeah,
you know okay, my heart says, well, this is the path I'm meant to be traveling in this lifetime because I've chosen it and it resonated with me, but we often feel disheartened and disconcerted, and everyone does. I
yeah,
mean, I don't there's not anyone who doesn't feel disheartened at times.
yeah,
But when I hear stories of Samuel and Elia, and I know Elia, I've been there with him, I've seen what he's been through as a young man, and to hear that he is it's his medicine, it's
yeah,
his medicine journey.
yeah.
And that to me is very exciting, Giles. It really is, hearing your words. So, this is doing me good.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were just chatting about how, this show is going out all around the world,
Yeah.
which is just absolutely wonderful. It was about I think it was about 5 or 6 days ago,
Yeah.
and there's a Spanish podcast provider. And all of a sudden had been this massive spike in listens, like 400 people
Yeah.
in Spain have suddenly found KindaSound.
Mm.
Just, and it maybe it's that we're not sure, but maybe the podcast provider takes it in turns and they say, "Oh, we'll showcase these people today," or "we'll showcase these people." It's nothing that we've not contacted them and said, "Oh,
Yeah.
please, can you share our things?" But all of
Yeah.
a sudden, all these people in Spain are listening to us. So I don't know what to say. Hola, hola to our Spanish
Hola,
audience.
hola,
Hola,
hola.
you know.
España. Oh,
Oh, viva España. And our friends in our friends in Japan and the Ukraine are listening to us. And our
yeah.
friends in Russia.
Russia and Ukraine. Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very highly
Yeah.
rated people are listening to us in Russia.
Yeah. And they're fantastic,
Isn't
isn't
that
it?
wonderful, Stephen?
But I went to see what's called a Heureka Practica.
Yeah.
Okay, that's basically a natural medicine therapist, an alternative therapist, what we would call in England.
Yeah.
And he was using Russian equipment, which is based on radionics,
Yeah.
the way a pendulum works, either going counterclockwise and clockwise, but all highly sophisticated and computerized.
Yeah.
And their science, the Russian science,
Mm-mm.
is based on the way a pendulum works, either going counterclockwise or clockwise. But that can go into, well, it is basically plus and minus, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's going on inside the body. And it was gobsmacking. The accuracy is amazing, amazing. So I think it's very exciting to see that actually humanity is really moving forward.
Mm.
There's a resonance happening in this time that's really high resonance. And I suppose we're all expected to step up, let go of our fear,
Yeah.
and step up to the next cycle. And, a lot of the time we want to just get ourselves back into bed and pull the covers over our heads.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I'm
how I
I
felt this morning.
Well, absolutely, Steve. No, I do totally understand that. I'm working on a new book, and it's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be called. Yeah, I'm working on a new book, and it's going to be called something like 108 quotes
Oh,
for
nice.
an inspirational life. And there'll
Lovely.
be a quote, and then they'll write a little commentary, and then
Yeah,
the
yeah.
next page it'll
Great
be. I'm
idea.
going to do that, and one of them is when you can rest.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
because life can be. I mean, we're spinning, aren't we? We're spinning at great speeds through space,
Mm. Oh,
and we're entering new parts of space, and
yeah.
the changes that are taking place recently. I was listening to this podcast by this medic, and he claimed that there have been more advances made in medicine in the last few years because of the application of AI than have
Mm.
in the last few hundred.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
and he said it's not about AI replacing anyone. It's about us working with these tools so we
Mm.
can more effectively serve and help people. It was quite interesting. He sounded like a very good guy, a very
Mm.
positive kind of like a. He sounded like he was a man of ethics.
Mm.
Um, and of course, we're using technology to be able to spread our message, the
Yeah.
message of and your message, the message of the medicine path to our friends in Russia and Japan. I mean, it would be a long way for them to get a plane ticket to do a seminar with us, right?
Yeah. This is it. This is what you're saying is exactly how it really we need to embrace. I
Mm.
mean, I need to embrace. Not, I mean, there is the we, there is the big we,
Yep.
but it's also the big I,
Yep.
the big I am need to embrace evolution, basically, because we're evolving. I
Yeah.
mean, I got this understanding the other day. I mean, to me, it's incredible. I mean, I don't know how to, I'll try and say it, but it's like this. For 4.5 billion years, 4.5 billion years, a billion is 1,000 million, isn't it? So 4.5 thousand million years,
Yeah.
there's been life on Earth. Okay? And this life on Earth has brought us to this point of time where I can see you, you can see me, and we're a highly evolved being, quite frankly. Yeah? We're a composite of all these different cells, all working as teams to make sure that this whole being actually exists.
Yeah.
You know, 4.5 billion years.
Yeah.
And you know what every one of those 4.5 billion years have been made of? This moment in time
Mm.
moving forward steadily, step by step. This moment in time now that you're looking at me and nodding your head and I'm putting my finger up, this moment in time. Now that to me is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I'm made of the same chemicals as you, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, calcium, phosphorus, nitrogen. These same six elements, 98% or
Mm. Mm.
99% of this is made of water. I mean, it's extraordinary.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're moody buggers. We're very, you know, and we lose the picture.
Yes.
And it's as if a big mass of humanity has lost the picture. And they're just sort of stepping in with your help and my help, stepping back into the picture
Yeah.
of being these extraordinary creatures. You know, so I find I find this whole thing just, you know, like AI. I haven't tried it yet. I don't know.
Mm.
Wouldn't know where to start. But
No.
you know, I need to embrace.
Yeah. I mean, it is quite interesting. Um, because I think the human intelligence is much better. I think the human intelligence is much better. I mean, I haven't heard one piece of music that AI has created that's better than anything that I've done.
No.
I haven't read anything that AI has written that's better than anything I've written. So I still think it's kind of weak compared to the human spirit, quite frankly. However, there are applications for it, as this medic was talking about, in how things can be tested in a very quick period of time
Mm,
using these models to eliminate, a lot of mess and fuss and all of these things.
yeah.
So I suppose it's one of these things, isn't it? But I mean, yeah, the AI is going to beat me at chess. It will
Yeah.
beat me at chess, but it's not gonna write a better song than me. I mean, it can try. But the human spirit, oh, hold to the human spirit. Now, Stephen, tell us about the nature in Austria right now. We're recording this at the end of May.
Mm.
How's it been? How's nature been?
Oh, astounding.
Yeah.
Astounding. And I've been doing an experiment, which, by the way, works. Okay. And I'd like you to go and try this experiment because it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
I've got a cold pod out in the garden,
Hmm.
a cold pod, you know, so I can go out in the mornings and I can get into cold water.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's called the cold pod. And before I get in, right beside the cold pod is a hazel tree. And I stand close to the hazel tree and I say to the hazel tree, I ask you with a humble heart, would you please touch my face? And the hazel tree comes and touches my face. And if I say to the last time I did it, instead of it touching my face, the whole leaf went against my face and almost sucked my face.
Wow.
And I'd seen someone else do this.
Mm.
And I thought I would experiment myself and see how it worked. And it's worked every time. Every time you do this, it works.
Yeah.
The nature, this garden here is just like Chalicewell Garden.
Wow.
Because I go out into the garden, I cut the grass, and the big blue cedar in the middle of the garden, it says to me, don't cut the daisies, please.
Yeah.
So I'm having to go around
Yeah,
the
yeah.
wall, leaving the patches of
The bit.
daisies,
Yeah.
because the plants are so, I think there's a huge healing happening in the earth at the moment. I
Yes,
think
I
we've
agree.
woken up enough. I think we've turned the corner.
Hmm.
Personally, I think so.
Yes.
Because I see it, for example, in the river here, the River Glan, which goes through a lot of cities, a lot of towns. I saw a big trout. A big trout. It must have been at least this long, a foot long. I mean, and then it went up to what was a clump, but the clump was a shoal of fish. I
Wow.
mean, it's like the river's coming alive,
Yeah, yeah.
the air is cleaner,
Yes.
and nature, the green things that grow, are just pushing like,
Mm.
ah. So personally, I'm not into the doom and gloom at all because
Yeah, man.
it seems to be in full recovery.
Yes, yes.
Doing the same.
It's yeah. It's a very interesting one. I'm reading an old book at the moment called The Power of Positive Thinking
All
by
right.
Norman Vincent Peale,
I
first
know it.
published in 53. And I'd never read the book. I mean, it's like one of these like spiritual classics, you know.
Yeah, it
And I
is.
was always a bit put off by the title because I thought, well, you know, what's positive thinking? You know, let's have a happy life, let's have a happy life sort of thing. But the book's not about that at all. The book is deeply spiritual, you know,
Mm,
deeply profound. And the last chapter I read last night was all about expectation. And he
mm,
says, what you expect to happen may well come to manifest.
mm,
So if we have an expectation and a focus and a belief and a willpower in that the environment is, I'm not saying that we ignore problems. I'm just saying that if we have a focus, a positive
mm,
focus, well, what are we going to create compared to the doom and gloom merchants? And you know, we both of us we're environmentalists, but we have a very optimistic outlook, and that's I think that's important because you do meet particularly some young people who have terrible mental health problems because
mm,
they truly believe that the earth is going to end in what is it now? 20, well, they said it was 2030, so like 5 years. They honestly believe because they were told by someone at the UN that the earth is going to end. And bless them, you know. What words do we have for these people, Stephen?
What words do we have for these people?
How can we help them?
Love them.
Mm,
You know, I went to a little village yesterday, and there was a busy street with trucks going backwards and forwards, and on the other side was a young man, and he was what we would have called mongoloid.
yeah,
Yeah, but there's a much more politically correct way of calling it. I can't, I haven't
yeah,
got it in my mouth. No. And he was waving to every car that went past. And when he saw me, he waved to me and waved me over.
yeah, yeah.
So I waited for the traffic to
Yeah.
stop, a gap, and I went across to meet him. And I said to him, "Was ist dein Name? Was ist dein
Yes. Yeah.
Heißen?" And he says, "I am Kim." And
Kim.
I said, "I'm Stephen."
Yes.
And we had this immediately wonderful rapport.
Yes.
And when I said, "I have to go, Kim," and I went across
Mm.
the road again, there he was, back again, waving to all the cars. And, you talk about that positive thinking and you say, well, what do we say to these young people? Well, the little guy called me over and I went over to him. I didn't say, no, I haven't got time.
Yes.
The two most valuable things, are love and time.
Yeah. You've always said that. Yep.
Like you're giving me some time. Thank you, Giles.
Yeah.
I'm not taking this for granted. I'm honored that you take some time for me because I know you're a busy man. You know, and I think it's this attitude is saying to they're such wise people, these young
Mm.
people. Look at Elia, how wise Elia is. How wise my children are. How
Mm.
wise that young man Kim was.
Yes.
Because they're young and fresh and they're malleable. Their brains are malleable. The
Yeah. For sure.
nervous system is malleable. It
Yeah.
just takes that little bit of encouragement to
Yes.
switch them over, actually. It's not a huge business, is it,
No,
Giles?
I mean, I tell you what was something I was involved in recently, which was a lovely switchover, was we went up to Manchester for EcoFest,
Yeah, okay.
organised by our friends, the Vegan Organic Network, and it was
Mm,
a free festival. You know,
right.
I mean, I'm sure you remember back in the day there were lots of these free festivals,
Yeah.
and now Glastonbury, it's like over £300, for a ticket for Glastonbury
Yeah.
Festival. But anyway, it was a free festival, and they had so many wonderful activities for people of all ages. So
Yeah.
they had face painting, like eco face
Yeah.
painting, and it was free. Now,
Yeah.
normally you'll have a big queue for a fiver. Kids want that, but it was free. They had this guide cycling round like Willy Wonka in this big trike with all these kids on the back of it. They had um, these two beautiful girls showing people how to sprout, how to
Mm,
get beans and seeds and sprout them. They had willow weaving. They had talks. They had live music, and it was all free. And it was a beautiful energy just to look around. And I mean, there must have been over 1,000 people, 1 or 2,000 people came throughout the day. Everyone was smiling, and I thought, what a wonderful way to spread a message, not trying to knock someone over the head with it and say, oh, this is what you've got to do. But just through this osmosis of energy of having things there, stalls and workshops and everything. And I did a workshop on the mechanics of manifestation. And
mm,
it was in this side kind of bit. It wasn't in the park. And I thought, is anyone going to turn up?
mm,
And then I thought, God, And then I went to this room and there were these four lovely people there. The strange, if you're listening, I hope you don't. But, unusual people. I mean, I'm unusual, but they're diverse, diverse people sat there. One by one, more turned up, more turned up, more turned up. They just kept coming and turning up. And I think that this is such a powerful thing that we have connection, community, and also we were in nature, we were in a park. So people could experience, even if they had their hands on the earth, listening to a bit of music or weaving, using their hands to make something, whatever it was, or learning about sprouting,
mm,
simple things. And one person that turned up, of course, someone you've had a big influence in his life was Samuel. Bless him,
mm,
Samuel, and he's grown into a fantastic young man. He's going to be 21 this year at the end of the year. 21
mm.
years old, hey. And I remember it was like with your joy. I
Mm,
hadn't seen her for years, and I saw her in Avebury, and the last time I'd seen her, I think she was 15,
right.
and you were picking them up for a party, and there was this beautiful, beautiful, sophisticated young woman there. Oh, isn't it a wonderful journey, Stephen?
It's it's so lovely to hear you talk, Giles, because you know you're talking about that fest, and I can almost see it
Yeah,
by the way you're talking. I can
yeah,
almost see all the pictures in my head. And because you're projecting such a clear picture, of course it goes into my head. I see those pictures because nature is beautiful.
yes,
And it's when we get caught up in the other stuff,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I mean, quite frankly, we all do get caught up. I mean,
yes,
I'm no different to anyone else. It's no use saying that all these years of practice has brought me to the point of always being there. I'd say, no, 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 you've got to keep doing it. It's
yeah,
like washing your teeth.
yeah,
No use saying I washed my teeth yesterday and that'll
yeah,
do me for today.
yeah,
You got
yeah.
to wash. I've got a toothbrush here just to remind me.
Just to remind you,
You
it's
know,
so true, isn't it, Stephen? It's like the smudge. It's like the honouring, isn't it?
yeah,
It's like I'll sometimes talk to people and they say, "Oh, I'm struggling. Something's happening or whatever." I said, "Oh, have you smudged this?" They said, "Oh, yeah, I did. I did do that when I moved in, which was like a year ago." And it's for me. I light the candle every day,
yeah,
you know, and do a bit of the smudge and a
yeah.
bit of prayer and it's like you say with when you're busy, it's almost that's your yoga, the karma yoga, the service. But it's some of these tools, and I just like to say, kind of sounders, we've got a whole series on the Medicine Path show, and if you haven't listened to every episode, thoroughly recommend it. Because we covered some fantastic subjects: the sacred drumming, the honoring, the seasons, the cycle of the year, the medicine wheel. And that's a wonderful thing as well, Stephen, about, what we've done is that, and what we're continuing to do is that we are leaving some footprints, if you like, that
Mm.
others can listen to. Yesterday when we were looking at all the kind of sound stats and everything, and it made me so happy because one of our beloved presenters, Isaac George, who it's been 2 years since he's moved on into spirit, there's like 50 of his shows.
Oh,
Thanks to Kinder
wonderful.
Sound, his wisdom has been preserved, and you can listen to it. You just type in his name, Isaac George, revealing the mysteries, Kinder Sound, and it will come up. You can listen to it now, just as people can with this.
It's wonderful. I'm really impressed, and I'm really honored to be part of it. You know, I'm really honored because it's like I did a workshop on Saturday,
Yeah,
okay, and suddenly it had been raining for days and days and days, and it had been very cold, and
yeah,
suddenly the sun came out, and most of the people quit, right?
yeah,
So I was left with two people,
yeah,
right? But we had the most beautiful time. The host and hostess, they joined in, so there were five of us all together. It wasn't so bad. But the quality of the energy was astronomical.
yeah,
And it reminds me of the words of Jesus, of Yeshua, where Yeshua says, well, when one or more people get together, or two or more people get
yes,
together, there too I am.
yes, yes,
And I think it's with these expectations,
yes,
we have to let go of expectations.
yes.
And we come back to the young people. What do we give them? We give them not expectations.
Hmm.
We give them hope.
Yes.
Hope. And that's what these programs are doing.
Mm.
Isaac George spoke, and he spoke of hope for the
Yes.
future.
Yes.
I speak of hope, and you speak of hope.
Mm.
I too was a young man. I too was a 15-year-old or a 21-year-old. I remember my 21st birthday and eating peas on my 21st birthday. What a celebration with my mother and my grandmother. What a party. Two, three of us, expectations.
No, you're right. Yeah, 100%. That's absolutely true. I've written this book, and there you go, everyone. You want to
Oh,
go to
lovely. Yeah, yeah.
World
I
Healing
could get
Project.
a copy.
Yeah, that's it. I've got to send you one. worldhealingproject.com. And so, right, I've written the book on it, like Stephen Ash has written the book on sacred drumming, So I'm doing this workshop. Someone said to me, you should do a work. What are you doing these talks on it? Do a whole day workshop. So I thought, lovely. So give them lunch, handouts and everything, superfoods and all that. £55, right? So I'm thinking to myself, well, I'll get 10 people. That'll be £550 for a day, Great, happy days. So I'm, doing my manifestation for 10. Well, I had to just absolutely surrender that, didn't I? When I had one person booked on it, I thought, well, I've got to surrender. And then I thought, who am I to control anything?
Yeah,
You know, I can do my bit. I can put together a poster. I can share it. I can do my bit, but I can't force anyone to do anything. I can't manipulate the universe to do anything. That higher path is surrender, is the Ho'oponopono.
yeah,
So that's then what I did. And I surrendered and I thought rather than having this expectation, this, mindset, I'm going to get 10 people and earn lots of money. No, no. I then surrendered to the right people will come. And we had three people, so three guys and me. And Stephen, we were like the four kings.
yeah,
It was just off the, like you're describing, it was just off the scale.
yeah.
It was really, and yeah, so I'm gonna do another workshop with the 8th of June, and running it with dear Juliet. Now, Stephen, do you have anything coming up with the School of Sacred Drumming? Anything you'd like to share?
Well, we're just organising a drum making on the Black Sea.
Wow.
Going to be fun. We're just going down through Romania to the Black Sea. But on the scale of um, the School of Sacred Drumming, I'm very naughty. I'm very naughty because I really should know what's going on.
Well, all you could do, I would have to say then, kind of sound, is you just got to go to the website. School,
Exactly,
school.
exactly,
That's why we have websites, Stephen.
exactly.
Got-
Don't keep it in my
Yeah,
head.
we don't need it in the heads when we've got a
I
website.
haven't got,
When you've
I
got a
haven't got.
beautiful website too, it's the School of Sacred Drumming.com. Of course, the links will be in the video and in the podcast. School of Sacred Drumming.com. You can sign up for the newsletter. You can follow Stephen and Renata on the socials, and all of the information is there. I mean, absolutely. Who needs it in the head, Stephen?
Oh, I
We
tell
gotta.
you what. I tell you what, Giles. I'm a bit empty, really. I spend most of my time making myself empty, and it's very difficult to fill it with things when it's
Yeah.
empty.
No, absolutely, absolutely. No, that's right, Stephen. That's why we have the websites. Ah,
Exactly.
exactly right. I
Good
have to.
answer.
Good
Bloody good.
answer. I have to send out my newsletters with all the dates on. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. When you're living in the moment, when you live a Zen life. Well, anyway, Medicine Man Stephen Ash,
Thank you.
absolute pleasure to have time with you.
Oh,
Thank you
thank
so much as well. Just I honor you because I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the time that we have, but I'm also so grateful that our brothers and sisters in Japan and Russia and the Ukraine and
Yeah,
around the world are
yeah,
tuning into these shows.
absolutely.
And do you know what? People are listening to shows that are 5 years old.
Oh,
Like
brilliant.
every week, there's shows that we've done on Kind of Sound, and people are picking up your book everywhere around the world. People are
Oh,
still being inspired. They're listening to your music right now. There'll be
oh,
someone in the world listening to your music.
Yeah, thank you.
Because of, because of what the effort you've done. They might still be playing the CD. They might be listening to it on Bandcamp, whatever it is.
Mm.
And I think that's a great, we've done some good work, and
Yeah,
may it continue.
thank you, Giles. And thank you for your company. And love to Juliet and love to the children.
Yes, and likewise,
Beautiful, beautiful times.
love to dear Renata and your children. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Medicine Man Stephen Ash. It's the School of Sacred Drumming.com. He is the Medicine Man. I am Giles Bryant, and you're listening to KindaSound.